Hey everyone, and welcome to my October watch list. So in October, I expected to only watch basically Buffy and maybe a couple of other Halloween-y films, and instead I watched a whole load of things across a whole spectrum of stuff. So let's get into it. So the first thing I watched was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The first reason why was because it was Slayer Fest, which is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer themed readathon, and also one of the Gothtober prompts was to watch a vampire TV show or film, and because obviously those two reasons, and also I felt like the universe was doing a few things to just say watch Buffy, so I ended up watching Buffy, and I watched the first two seasons in October, and I have been loving going back into the Buffy world. There was some stuff I couldn't really remember, like I could remember stuff like Ink and Mummy Girl and sort of the stuff where Spike and Drusilla turned up. I remembered that Angel turned into Angela, stuff like that, but I couldn't remember a hell of a lot of stuff from this, so it was so interesting to go back and watch it again and just kind of feel like I was 17 again, which was just fantastic. I've also discovered while watching Buffy again that I haven't grown up from being 17, in the sense that I still fancy Spike, I still fancy Oz, I still prefer Angelus over Angel. The only thing that's really changed is that I now also fancy Giles to be on the completely opposite end of the spectrum between Spike and Oz. But I genuinely fancy Giles now, and it's just, I want to grow up to be Giles, so I don't know what's happening there. I think that's some level of growth, I don't know. But essentially, I am basically the same sort of fangirl for Buffy, and I'm still reacting the same way as I did the first time round. But also, I am gaining an appreciation for people like Giles at the same time, and I am loving my rewatch. I feel 17 again. It's amazing. I am loving Buffy at the moment. I then also continued that campy horror-y type idea with the Mummy Trilogy and the Scorpion King. Now, I haven't watched these in about 10 years, I've got to admit, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching these again. Again, I felt like a kid watching them, which was great, because quite frankly, if there's one thing I need right now, it's feeling like I'm a child. So it was absolutely fantastic to watch these again. I found myself laughing the whole way through. It just made me really happy to watch. I felt like a kid again. What more could I want? I absolutely loved it, and I am definitely not going to leave it 10 years between now and my next rewatch of The Mummy. I then went on to watch The Blind Banker, which is the second episode in Sherlock Series 1, for part of my Sherlock rewatch. I watched the first episode of Study in Pink all the way back in July for the 10th anniversary, and then never continued until now. And I've been spurred on to do it now so I can watch The Great Game and Scandal in Belgravia just before I watch also The Hound of the Baskervilles on the 15th for the Sherlockathon. So I've been very slow and I very much need to catch up now, but I loved watching this episode. I always enjoy watching all of the episodes, but I've got to admit this is probably my least favourite episode of all 13 of them, just because it's got no Lestrade, and I feel like Lestrade's very much like a sort of holding force in the show, essentially, and it always feels like without him there's something missing. So I think that was the problem with Blind Banker. It's still really good fun. I really like how it sets up Moriarty and stuff like this, but it is not my favourite episode. But I am so excited to move on to The Great Game and just generally the rest of Sherlock, because I love this show. I absolutely adore it, and I just really want to watch more of it. It's been a long time since I watched it, so I definitely want to watch more of it. I just, again, feel like a teenager, because I've loved this show since I was a teenager, and I just want more of it. I then also finally broke my sort of Marvel band that I didn't even put myself in. It just kind of happened. This shit's been really weird for me, so I've ended up watching just the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and not the main MCU continuity with the Avengers and stuff, which is really odd for me for like a year. Usually I'd watch stuff around like all the new releases, so when Black Widow comes out I am planning on rewatching all of Natasha's films. When the Eternals came out I was probably going to end up watching something similar to that in some sort of way, stuff like this, and naturally none of that's happened. So I've been not putting it off, but I've been distracted by watching other things, and I just haven't watched the MCU recently. So this month I broke that in a big way, because this month I watched Doctor Strange, The Winter Soldier, and also Captain Marvel in the space of about a week, because quite frankly I just needed MCU in my life. It was the 4th anniversary of Doctor Strange coming out in the cinema, so I wanted to celebrate that. Then I just wanted Captain Marvel essentially I just wanted to watch Captain Marvel because I love her, and then also Captain America and the Winter Soldier was on TV, so naturally I watched it because whenever the films are on TV I try to watch them. So I watched all of those three. Naturally they are all of my favourite MCU movies, well they're some of my favourite anyway. They're up there with like Assemble, Infinity War, Endgame, all of them. I can't choose essentially, but I just love these three. I think these three are like my favourite ones of like solo films, apart from Civil War, if you can count Civil War as like a solo film. But I just love these ones so much. They made me ridiculously happy to watch, and it felt a little bit like a reset because this year's been rubbish, quite frankly. This year's been rubbish, and apparently what I needed was the MCU. Who knew that my MCU loving heart needed the MCU to feel happy? But there we go. I've now got the MCU back in my life, and I'm going to carry on watching all of them. Not in order, but I'm going to carry on watching all of them because I just love the MCU so much. I then went to the opposite end of superhero land and watched The Boys season finale because I think the final 2 episodes or the final episode aired in October. And I won't give spoilers because obviously it's only a couple of weeks, maybe a month old, I don't know, so I don't know if people have watched it or not. But what I will say is that the final plot twist got me, and I was like, what? And I ended up screaming because it was so good. There's, like, I love the girl power moment because there was a girl power moment in that final episode and it was epic. I love that moment. I need to see that girl power moment over and over and over and over again, and also hopefully in future seasons I'd love to see that. And I just really like the conclusion of this one, and I'm really excited to see where all of the characters are going to go in the next series because they've been left in some really interesting places in terms of their storyline and stuff like this, and I'm just wondering just how far further you can push some characters before something really worse happens, because a lot of bad things has happened already, but essentially if something worse happens, I don't know how much worse it could get, but I'm very excited to find out. I then went on to a spooky film, which was The Haunted Mansion, because we discovered it on Disney Plus and I have not watched that film since I was about 10, so we decided to give it a go and it was a really good time. I forgot how actual Halloweeny it is, considering it is a haunted mansion and it's all about ghosts and stuff like this, so I'm surprised I didn't remember as much from it as, like, I didn't remember how spooky it was and how Halloween appropriate it was, but I really enjoyed myself and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to leave it another 14 years before I watch it again. We also watched X-Men Last Stand because I was on a roll with the superheroes, so we watched X-Men Last Stand to continue the X-Men rewatch we're doing. So we have now completed the original trilogy with the original cast, and now we will be going on to James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender and stuff like that with X-Men First Class, and I just love Last Stand. I've got to admit, I love Last Stand because it's where Jean, obviously Phoenix, is out. You get the big Phoenix moment, you get Juggernaut and stuff like this. I love all of that kind of stuff. It was brilliant. I mean, it's not the best X-Men film in the world, that still goes to Days of Future Past in my mind, but it's still a really good fun film. I loved watching it. It was brilliant. We then also continued on with the superhero theme for the last time. Yeah, it's the last time, and we watched Big Hero 6 because we haven't watched this one in years, and it's still superheroes, but it's not in the main superhero continuity, though I have now found out that Big Hero 6 is actually a Marvel comic, so I am going to be racing to find those comics because I really want them now, even though they're wildly different from the film. I'm desperate for them now because I'm here for Marvel comics. What else can I say? I am a Marvel nerd, so I just want all the comics for all the heroes. So essentially, I love this one. I really enjoyed it. I really like Big Hero 6. I've got nothing else. I just really enjoyed Big Hero 6. Then the final thing we managed to watch was Pirates of the Caribbean 1, 2 and 3. So we managed to watch the entire original trilogy again after, again, years of not watching them. And again, I felt like a kid watching them, which is just really fun. I really enjoy feeling like a kid while watching stuff, apparently, and Pirates of the Caribbean was definitely the one. It was definitely what I needed, and I really love them. They're just so much fun. I mean, I love watching Will and Elizabeth be like the ultimate battle couple. I mean, they got married in the middle of a battle fighting Davy Jones. Like, you can't get more battle couple than that, so I love that element of it. I love Captain Jack because he's Captain Jack. I love the slightly spooky elements of it. I love all of the characters. I love the plot twists. They're just great. They're just so much fun, and I'm just so in love with Pirates of the Caribbean again. I'm so in love with Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just an epic set of films. I really love them. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with what you watched in October. I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check it out. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here. And over here with a link to my previous video. But until next time, everyone, bye.